When you feed the first page of the register into the brazier, the blurred, halting voice on the radio has just fallen silent. No cheer rises outside. People in the street do not yet know whether to believe what they heard, and the Japanese soldiers inside the building have not lowered their weapons. Only the operator of the military comfort station moves at once. He rushes to bolt the front door from the inside, then slams an armful of ledgers into your chest. Everything, he says. Burn it clean before dawn. He is not looking at the books when he says it. He is looking at you. In this building, you are the only person who can read all three kinds of evidence. Orders written in Japanese, the Korean women's real names, and the wooden door plaques marked with Japanese aliases. You are one of the women on the list. You are also the woman who keeps it. It is noon on the 15th of August, 1945, on Yatang Street in Jinhua, Zhejiang. Japan has announced that it will accept the Potsdam Declaration. The war is ending, but the door in front of you is still locked. The sentry's bayonet is still fixed. Upstairs, the rooms still smell of disinfectant, sweat, and old blood. The operator draws a sheet of paper, folded 3 times, from inside his jacket and flicks it before your eyes. It is a temporary identity certificate, bearing a seal used by the military. Finish the burning, he says, and this is yours. You stare at the paper. For the first time in 3 years, you can see something that might take you home. But the stack beside the brazier may be the only thing that can prove why you left home, and why you never returned for 3 years. Before dawn, you must answer one question. If you burn these names, are you saving the women, or helping this building commit one final injury against them? The name on your door was never yours. 3 years earlier, in the southern Korean peninsula, a broker told you that an army uniform factory in China needed women who could write Japanese. The pay would come monthly. Food and lodging were included. After 1 year, you could go home. Your father was ill. Your family owed grain, and you believed the recruitment notice printed with a company name. After the sea crossing, your papers were taken first. In Shanghai, you were transferred to a military truck. When you reached Jinhua, the operator tore up the recruitment notice in front of you and said the boat fare, truck fare, clothes, and meals had all been entered as debt. You asked where the uniform factory was. He pointed to a row of closed doors on the 2nd floor. After the first night, you lay on a reed mat, and every breath hurt beneath your left ribs. Rough cloth had rubbed the insides of your thighs raw. Dried blood had stuck your clothes to your skin. You did not dare tear the fabric away. You could only soak it loose, little by little, with warm water. Someone outside the door told you to hurry. Other men were waiting in the corridor. The next day, a military doctor examined you. He did not ask why your ribs hurt. He did not look at the finger marks on your shoulder. He cared only whether you might pass disease to soldiers. When he finished, he stamped a paper and you were pushed back behind the door. Only later did you understand. This building recorded every use it made of your body. It did not record your pain. Because you could read and write, the operator moved you out of the room for part of each day. You copied registers, painted door plaques, and checked tickets. The work meant fewer soldiers were sent to you. It also made you look, in the eyes of the other women, like half an accomplice. Every week, you lined them up in the corridor. One woman burned with fever and had to press her back to the wall to keep from sliding down. Another had a split at the corner of her mouth that opened whenever she swallowed. Another had missed her period for 2 months and lay awake at night with one hand over her lower belly, saying nothing. The doctor finished his examinations and stamped only the names cleared to keep receiving soldiers. You carried their certificates back to their rooms. You also counted, for the operator, the tickets no one wanted to remember. The ledgers held no crying. They held dates, room numbers, ranks, and totals. The hours for enlisted men, sergeants, and officers were all written in careful columns. A man outside needed only the proper ticket to walk down the corridor and enter. No woman inside possessed a ticket that could take her out. Slowly you learned the real rules of the building. A lock did not have to hang on a door. It could be a debt, a confiscated paper, a stranger's name, or the question, what if your family finds out? The operator liked to say he was protecting you outside, he said. There were armies, bandits, and bombing inside. At least there was food. When a soldier beat a woman too badly, he would stage a few angry words, because a woman injured beyond use could no longer earn money for him. It was not that he did not know what was happening to you. He had simply entered pain as another cost of business. In the final months of the war, food inside the building grew scarcer, while the soldiers grew more frantic. News from the front could no longer be hidden. Wounded men and retreating units passed constantly through Jinhua. Drunk soldiers said Japan would win. Others said the home islands had been burned to ash. Some cursed that as a rumor while stuffing soap, cloth, and medicine into their packs. Early in July, an explosion struck near Yatang Street. Windows shattered. Dust dropped from the rafters. Several women threw themselves to the floor and did not dare move. Later, you heard that officers and women had died in a blast at another comfort station. Nearby from that day on, the operator checked the back door every morning. He stopped worrying that you might get out. He began worrying that people from outside might get in. And today, the voice on the radio has finally admitted the thing he feared most. The war is over. At least, that is what the radio says. The operator kicks the brazier beside the threshold and hands you a box of matches. First the register, he says. Then the medical records. The income ledgers last. No ash is to remain in the yard. Mix it with water and pour the pulp into the rear ditch. You ask what will happen to the women. He pats the pocket holding the certificates. The obedient ones will have somewhere to go. You have heard that sentence too many times. The recruiter said obedience would earn wages. The men in the truck said obedience would keep you from being beaten. The doctor said obedience would make the examination end sooner. Every time obedience only postponed the next injury. Still, you cannot refuse at once. Some women in the building are too ill to walk far. Some cannot speak a word of Chinese. Some do not even know which Chinese city they are in. If the Japanese troops withdraw, the women may be taken with them or abandoned where they stand, as women have been abandoned in other collapsing territories. A piece of paper may not carry anyone home. Without one, she may not pass the first checkpoint. You carry the register upstairs and begin collecting the door plaques. The first wooden plaque has been polished bright by sweaty hands. A Japanese name is written on the front. On the back, in a fine hand, you added the woman's real name. Beside it is the date of her latest examination. Every door is the same. People outside see an alias and a stamp. The woman inside keeps her true name hidden beneath her tongue. Yulan, from room 2, stops you. She is from the countryside near Jinhua. Japanese troops brought her into the city after a sweep through her area. Her right foot has never healed properly, and the limp worsens in wet weather. Last night, someone kicked her in the side again. Now, to sit down, she must brace one hand on the bed frame and lower herself an inch at a time. She shuts the door and shows you a bruise spreading from her waist toward her back. The edges have turned yellow. The center is still swollen and glossy. She does not ask you to find medicine. She asks only, "Are they going to burn the list?" You nod. Yulan reacts as if she has finally heard good news. She grips your wrist, her nails almost breaking the skin. "Burn mine completely. My real name, my village, my family. Do not leave a single character." She had been promised in marriage back home. Her fiancé may be dead, or he may still be alive. She does not know, but if she returns, she would rather say she was taken away to wash clothes and cook, or that she spent 3 years sick on the road as a refugee. "They will not ask how I survived," she says. "They will ask how many men touched me." Then she releases you and pulls her jacket higher to cover the bruise. You have no right to tell her to be brave. Courage is a word safe people like to give victims. Yulan does not want the understanding of some future age. She wants to reach the entrance to her village without being examined all over again by every pair of eyes. You promise to burn her name. At room 6, Jong-sun blocks the doorway and refuses to let you enter. She comes from the same peninsula as you and arrived 2 years later. Her broker told her she would work in a restaurant. She still believes her younger sister is waiting for a letter. Beneath her collarbone are 2 round burn scars. The little finger of her left hand was once broken and healed crooked. Whenever she holds a pen, it sticks out at an angle. Most days she cannot bear anyone looking at those marks. Today she pulls her collar aside and makes you see them. "Do not burn my name," she says. You think you misheard her. She raises the crooked finger before your face. "Later, they will say we came willingly. They will say we were paid. They will say the doors were never locked. If every paper is gone, who will listen to me? You warn her that if the register falls into other hands, people may see the name of her village, her father's name, and her home address. That is still better than being told I was never here. She says, Yulan wants you to burn it. Jiong-sun wants you to save it. Their names are on the same page. Back in the office, you spread that page flat across the desk. The paper is so thin that ink shows through from the reverse. Under Yulan's real name are her village and relatives. Under Jiong-sun's are her age and place of origin. Beside each is a Japanese alias, like a second skin laid over the life she had before. You try to cut the page down the middle. The blade has barely touched the paper when you notice the page number and file code along the outside edge. A separate medical sheet recognizes only those codes, not the names. Cut apart, either half could easily be dismissed as a forgery. Keep the page intact, and you preserve the very thing Yulan most wants destroyed. For the first time, you understand that the register locks the women together in exactly the way this building does. No one can open only her own lock. Footsteps sound outside. A sergeant shoves a wooden crate of army logistics papers into the yard. He does not look toward the women upstairs. He tells the operator only this: dispose of every classified document. Nothing can remain. The operator immediately calls you downstairs. As you carry the register along the corridor, something heavy strikes the floor inside room 3. The woman there has a high fever. A moment ago she could still prop herself against the wall. Now she is curled on the floor, her teeth knocking together. One corner of the cloth between her legs is soaked with dark blood, unlike an ordinary period. She says it feels as if a hook inside her belly is pulling downward. Each spasm jerks her lower back into an arch. The operator looks in from the doorway and asks whether she will be able to travel tomorrow. You say she needs a doctor. He gives you a flat, cold look. The army doctor's records have to burn too. There is no doctor now. The surrender has not even been formally signed, and the army is already making certain things disappear: orders, ledgers, seals, medical files. As for a bleeding body, it was never treated as a record worth preserving. You send Yulan to boil water and find the last roll of gauze in the medicine cabinet. Yong-sun crouches and holds the feverish woman's shoulders. When a spasm comes, the woman bites her own sleeve. Sweat pastes her hair across her face. You pin her hands gently, so she cannot claw herself. Her nails score 4 bloody lines across the back of your hand. Suddenly, you no longer want to wait for anyone to issue permission. You return to the office and take 3 blank certificates from the operator's drawer. Copying the sergeant's usual hand, you enter 3 occupations: laundry worker, kitchen helper, general laborer. You do not make the writing too neat. Perfect penmanship would look forged. Then you slide the ink pad beside the brazier. When the operator turns away, you press the old seal from his desk onto all 3 sheets. The first is for the woman with the fever. The second is for Yulan. The third is for Jiong-sun. Before this night has reached its halfway point, you do the first thing you cannot take back. If you are caught, you may be beaten, held behind, or cost all 3 women their chance to leave. If you do nothing, they must wait for a man who has never regarded them as human to decide their fate. The ink on the last seal is still wet when the operator returns. He sees the blood on your hand, then the red smear you failed to wipe from the corner of the desk. He grabs your hair and drives your face into the desk edge. Your teeth split your lip. Blood floods your mouth with the taste of rust. Your right ear rings, and half your face quickly goes numb. He does not ask why you did it. He counts the blank sheets in the drawer. 3 are missing. You say you used them to wrap medicine. He slaps you again. This time your ear loses all sound. You see only his mouth moving. When hearing slowly returns, the first words you catch are, "You think because Japan lost, you won." He tears the certificate he promised you into 2 pieces, but he does not dare lock you away yet. The Japanese ledgers have not been burned. He cannot read every woman's real name. The army has too much to make disappear, and he still needs your hands. That is the only leverage you have. You wipe the blood from your mouth with your sleeve, pick up the 2 halves of the certificate, and fit them together on the desk. Then you ask, "What if I refuse to burn anything?" The operator glances upstairs, then nobody gets a truck. He does not say what day the truck will come, or where it will go. but every woman in the building hears him. In that instant, you are no longer deciding only for yourself. More than a dozen pairs of eyes watch through cracks in the doors. Some women hate the register. Some need it. Some fear being left behind. Some fear being erased. One is already delirious with fever and can survive the night only through other people's choices. You carry the first income ledger to the brazier. When you open it, you realize the women's names are not what the operator most wants to destroy. The income sheets list head counts and ticket money by military rank. Medical forms carry the army doctor's seal. Supply requisitions state how much medicine, disinfectant, and grain the building requires. Several permits connect this privately operated house to the administration of the local garrison. The papers cannot speak, yet they are more honest than the operator. They show that this was not a room where a few soldiers happened to wander in. It was a system. Someone approved it. Someone assigned the hours, someone examined the bodies, someone counted the income, and someone issued the papers. The operator has always said burning the register would protect the women's reputations. But the register is only the top layer. What he truly wants to protect is himself. You quietly fold a stamped supply requisition into quarters and slip it into the lining of your clothes. One corner scrapes an old injury beneath your ribs, and the pain makes you draw a sharp breath. The paper weighs almost nothing. Against your body it feels like a bar of heated iron. Jong-sun sees you. You expect her to help conceal it. Instead, she catches your sleeve and whispers, "Whose name are you saving?" You tell her you are saving a paper that proves military administration first. Then you will find a way to deal with the names. She stares at you. "You decide for us." Again. The words strike harder than the operator's slap. For 3 years, you have arranged the order of their examinations, replaced their door plaques, and announced for the operator which woman was not allowed to rest that day. You told yourself you did it to spare them worse beatings. But each time you carried another man's order, you helped the building run a little more smoothly. You are a victim too. Being a victim does not automatically make everything you do right. Yulan comes down the stairs. The moment she sees you hiding paper, her face changes. She does not care whether it is a supply request. She asks only whether her real name is on it. You say no. She does not believe you. She reaches for the paper, wrenches her injured waist, and folds sharply in pain. Her forehead strikes the wall. She braces herself there for a long time, fighting for breath, but still refuses to release your jacket. "All of you say it is for the future," she says. "I have to live long enough to reach that future." At last you take out the requisition and unfold it before her. It carries no woman's real name, only supplies, a seal, and the name of a military unit. Yulan cannot read Japanese. She can only trust you, and trusting someone was the first step that brought her into this building. New sounds begin outside the walls. A scattering of firecrackers snaps in the distance, then stops. Someone at the street corner shouts that Japan has surrendered and is silenced by a patrol. A rifle butt pounds against a door. Up and down the street, windows close one after another. The world knows that the war is over. Yatang Street does not yet know when it is safe to believe it. At dusk, the operator orders the women into the yard. He does not announce freedom, he announces new lines. Japanese speakers to one side, Korean speakers to another, Chinese women in a third group. Those who can walk in front, the sick behind. The categories have changed. The man sorting them has not. The feverish woman is placed last. She no longer has the strength to stand, so Yulan and Jong-sun hold her between them. With every step, her feet pause as if waiting for the pain in her belly to pass. When the operator sees the blood on the hem of her skirt, he wrinkles his face in disgust and orders someone to wrap her in an old blanket so she will not dirty the yard. You suddenly understand who will be abandoned first, if this promised evacuation ever comes. Not the woman who disobeys most, the woman who can walk least. You give the 3 forged certificates to Yulan and tell her to sew them into the lining of the blanket. She freezes when she feels the papers. But she does not thank you. You do not need her thanks. You did not forge them to make yourself look kind. You did it because, without even this choice, your 3 years keeping the register would mean nothing but complicity. That night, the sergeant returns to the door with an oral order. Every classified document must be destroyed before dawn, and not even the destruction order is to exist in writing. The operator bows until the sergeant is gone, then drives the bolt deeper into place. He takes your matches, seats himself beside the brazier, and makes you hand him the papers one page at a time. The permits burn first, then the medical forms. Then the income books. Flames lick the edges. The doctor's red seals blacken, then curl into tiny rings. Figures arranged by military rank collapse into ash. Requisitions for disinfectant, records of contraceptive supplies, and stubs from travel permits lose their shape one after another. There are no screams, no gunshots. A system is quietly wiping away its own fingerprints. You pass the pages as slowly as you dare. The first time the operator hurries you, you say the brazier is too full. The second time you stir the ash with the iron tongs. You are waiting for the women upstairs to find an answer. You are also waiting for yourself to admit that there is no answer. Everyone can survive equally. After midnight, only the final register remains. The operator turns out his empty coat pocket for you to see. Inside are several newly issued certificates and a ring of keys to the back door. Burn the register and the door opens. He places the keys on the far side of the brazier. This is not freedom. It is a trade, evidence for an exit, memory for a travel pass, the women's future chance to tell the truth, for the promise that they will not be left here tonight. You open the register to the page, holding Yulan and Jong-sun. Yulan stands below the stairs, one hand pressed to her injured waist, her face drained of color. She does not urge you on. She only seals her lips into a hard line. Jong-sun stands beside her, her crooked little finger hooked around the railing. She does not hurry you either. She watches the paper as if it is her last chance to prove that she existed. You ask the operator, "What if I keep only the names and remove the addresses?" He laughs. Do dead people get to choose the words on their stones? You look up at him. His laughter stops. He too has realized that the world outside has changed. Yesterday he could decide who counted as dead. Today he is only a man who happens to hold the keys for a few more hours. You seize the tongs and knock a glowing coal from the brazier onto the threshold. The operator steps back instinctively, afraid it will catch his trouser leg. In that instant, you take the keys. You can open the door. But patrols are still outside, and a woman inside is bleeding and cannot walk. If everyone rushes out now, those who can run may scatter into the dark. Those who cannot will remain in the yard, within reach of the operator's revenge. You close your hand around the keys until their teeth bite into your palm. Everyone waits for you. In the end, you do not open the door yet. You push the keys inside your sash and lift the register over the brazier. The operator reaches for it. You step back and open to the page. First, you let Yulan see her real name. Then you let Jong-sun see hers. "I have memorized them," you say. The words cannot replace evidence. They cannot promise that memory will never change. But in that moment, this unreliable vow is all you have to give. Yulan closes her eyes. Jong-sun does not. You lower the whole page into the fire. The paper yellows first at the corner holding Yulan's name. The heat makes the ink shine, then split. Flame crosses the crease in the center and bites into Jong-sun's name. She takes half a step forward, as if to reach for it, but stops. You smell paper fiber, ink, and old mildew scorching together. It is not the smell of a human body, yet you know that from this moment on, some people will treat these women as if they never existed. You keep burning, page by page. Someone cries behind a door. Someone else breathes in relief. Another woman turns her back and refuses to watch. When your own real name appears, you pause longest. The Japanese name on your door has faced the corridor for 3 years. The name that belongs to you has lain quietly on this paper. You once believed that if you burned it, you could burn those 3 years out of your body as well. But your ribs still ache when the weather turns damp. Your right ear has not stopped ringing since the blow. 4 new scratches across your hand are still bleeding. Paper can vanish. Your body will not suddenly become the body you had 3 years ago. You put your own name into the fire anyway. Not because you forgive anyone, because the feverish woman upstairs cannot survive another round of waiting. As the final page curls inward, the operator reaches for the keys. You do not give them back. You tell him to open the rear door, let the sick woman leave first, and then he can have the keys. He says the patrol will arrest you. Then explain to them. You answer, why Japan has surrendered, and you are still holding a house full of women behind a locked door. For the first time, you turn his fear into something you can use. The operator stares at you. He once relied on the army, so he did not fear the neighbors, the police, or the sound of women crying. Now the army is busy burning its own files. Suddenly, he needs the women inside this building to remain quiet. He needs them not to spill into the street after dawn. He needs them not to point at him. Power has not disappeared. For the first time, it has loosened enough to bargain with. He agrees to open the back door, but only 4 people may leave first, Yulan Jong-sun, and the woman with the fever. Everyone else must wait for another chance. Another sorting. Another man deciding who leaves first. You hold the key but do not turn it. Accept, and you may save at least one sick woman. Refuse, and the door may be bolted again while everyone waits together. The register is already ash. You have nothing left to trade. You choose to open the door. The hinge gives a low, almost private groan. Night air slips through the crack, carrying the smell of the drainage ditch, smoke, and faraway firecrackers. Yulan supports the feverish woman's legs. Jong-sun braces her shoulders. You wrap the blanket tightly around her. The 4 of you do not run. You cross the threshold one careful step at a time. As the feverish woman passes the brazier, she suddenly opens her eyes and asks whether her name still exists. You do not know how to answer. Jong-sun answers for you. We remember. The back door closes behind you at once. There are still women inside. You have not rescued everyone. You have not preserved everything. You do not become a spotless hero. You have traded a burned register for a door that opened only for a moment. And when that door closes, people are still standing on the other side. Near dawn, you hide in an abandoned storehouse. Yulan opens the lining of the blanket and finds the 3 certificates stamped with the old seal. Blood and sweat have soaked one corner, but the writing remains legible. Jong-sun looks at the false occupation on her paper and gives a brief laugh. I never made it to the restaurant, she says. But I became a laundry worker after all. No one laughs with her. You draw the supply requisition from inside your clothes. It is still there. It bears no woman's name, but it has a seal, a date, and a military unit. It proves that someone supplied this building. By itself, it cannot prove what happened to every woman inside. Yulan looks at it. Are you going to burn that one too? Now you are the one asking her to trust. The names are gone, you say. At least let this show who opened the place, who supplied it, and who put a seal on the paper. Yulan is silent for a long time. Finally, she returns the requisition. She does not say that she agrees. She does not say that she forgives you. She is simply too tired to keep arguing with the future. Years later, archives will tell other people things you cannot know in this moment. In 1944, a Korean association in Jinhua left behind its rules and membership register. Chinese intelligence officers obtained the material and copied it. The register included operators, managers, and many young women. The occupation field beside many women was blank, yet their addresses matched those of comfort station operators. At a place known as Kikusui House on Yatang Street, more than a dozen women were recorded at the same address. The register you burn on the first night after surrender is not the last such list in the world. But the papers that survive in archives do not preserve everything either. They do not record why Yulan begged you to burn her name. They do not record why Jong-sun would rather bear shame than lose the evidence. They do not record that the woman with the fever was still bleeding, beneath the blanket, as she crossed the threshold. Nor do they record that an army which had announced its defeat still held rifles, and that freedom had to be carried out by several people during the few moments a back door remained open. On the 16th of August, 1945, Japan's Imperial General Headquarters ordered the destruction of classified documents. Many records connected to war responsibility were systematically burned after the surrender. Days later, intelligence reports from Jinhua would note that another comfort station, along with Japanese and collaborationist military and political offices, was preparing to withdraw. The Great War is over. The women's journeys home are not written into the surrender document. A historian can write that Japan announced its surrender on the 15th of August. On Yatang Street, you remember another kind of ending. The operator removes the sign first, The army burns its files first. The women are sorted all over again. Some people hurry to erase evidence of a crime. Some hurry to erase the shame forced upon them. And some would rather let the wound be seen than allow anyone to call them willing. You look down at your hands. The keys have pressed tooth marks into your palm. 4 scratches cross the back of your hand. Ash still clings between your fingers. You rub for a long time. The grey does not completely lift. It settles deeper into the lines of your skin, like writing shrunk too small ever to be read again. The papers in the brazier are gone. The names are not all dead. The door never truly opened. And now you understand that the cruelest thing about a list is not only that it once turned women into numbers. It is that even after the war ends, a woman must still choose between 2 injuries, leave her name behind so the world can know what was done to her, or burn it, so she can try to return home as someone the world does not already regard as ruined. Dawn comes. In the distance, someone shouts again. Japan has surrendered. You lift the feverish woman and move along a street that is not fully awake. No one knows where the next checkpoint will be. No one knows whether 3 false certificates can take you across a river, onto a boat, and back to your separate villages. You know only that people remain behind the threshold. So you hide the nameless paper with its surviving seal against your body, turn back, and memorize the road that will take you to the door again.